Between the silver ribbon of morning and the green glittering ribbon of sea, the boat touched Harwich and let loose a swarm of folk like flies, among whom the thin figure of Valentin, chief of the Paris police, was as true as a needle to the north. Valentin was on the trail of the most elusive criminal in the world, Flambeau. Flambeau was a colossus of crime, a man of giant stature and even more giant imagination. He had been a harlequin, a housebreaker, and a king of kidnappers. Now Valentin had reason to believe he was in England, and more specifically, that he would be attending the Eucharistic Congress in London. Valentin sat in a breakfast car of a train bound for Victoria. He was a man of cold logic and sharp observation. As he sat, his eyes fell upon two priests sitting a few seats away. One was a very large, imposing man. The other was a very small, dumpy priest from Essex, with a face as round and dull as a Norfolk dumpling and eyes as empty as the North Sea. He was clumsily carrying several brown paper parcels, one of which he claimed contained a silver cross with blue sapphires of enormous value. That little priest is a fool, thought Valentin. To carry such a treasure so openly is an invitation to every thief in London. Valentin followed them, but in the bustle of the station, he lost them. He spent the morning wandering the streets of London, guided not by logic, but by a curious instinct for the abnormal. He entered a small restaurant and ordered a cup of coffee. As he sat, he noticed something strange. The sugar basin contained salt, and the salt cellars contained sugar. The waiter, he thought, is not a madman. Someone has done this. He asked the waiter, who pointed out two priests who had been there earlier. "The little one," the waiter said. He threw his soup at the wall. Valentin went to the wall and saw a dark splash. He followed the trail. At a greengrocer's, he found the price tags for oranges and nuts had been swapped. "The little priest again?" the man grumbled. "He knocked over my apple stalls." In a restaurant in Hampstead, a window had been broken, but the bill had been paid with 3 times the necessary amount. The waiter there said, "The little priest broke it to make sure we'd notice the bill." Finally, as dusk fell over Hampstead Heath, Valentin saw them. The giant priest and the little dumpy priest were walking together toward a lonely spot under the trees. Valentin crept closer, hiding in the shadows. He was joined by 2 other officers he had summoned. They watched as the 2 priests sat on a bench. The large priest leaned forward, his voice losing its clerical tone and becoming hard and demanding. "Give it to me," the large priest, Flambeau in disguise, hissed. "Give me the blue cross. I have the duplicate in my pocket. No one will know." The little priest, Father Brown, looked up with his mild, blinking eyes. "I'm afraid I can't do that," he said gently. "You fool," Flambeau laughed, standing to his full, intimidating height. "I am Flambeau. I have been shadowing you all day, and I have already swapped the parcels. The cross is in my pocket, and you are holding a box of stones." Father Brown did not look frightened. He looked almost apologetic. "I am so sorry," Father Brown whispered. "But I'm afraid it is you who are mistaken. I saw you were a thief the moment you spoke of reason and faith as if they were enemies. So I took precautions." Flambeau sneered. "What precautions? I have the parcel." "You have a parcel," Father Brown corrected. "But when we were in the first restaurant, I swapped your duplicate for the real cross. Then I mailed the real cross to a friend in Westminster from the little post office around the corner. Then I made sure we were followed by leaving a trail that even the slowest policeman could see. The salt in the sugar, the soup on the wall, the broken window." Flambeau reached into his pocket and tore open the parcel. It was indeed filled with stones. "And how," Flambeau gasped, "did you, a celibate simpleton of a priest, know all these tricks of the trade?" Father Brown stood up, brushing some dust from his coat. "Oh," he said simply, "a man who hears the confessions of real criminals for 20 years stays reasonably well informed about the darker side of human nature." At that moment, Valentin and his officers stepped out from the shadows. The great Flambeau was caught, not by a master of logic, but by a simple priest who understood the heart of a man.
The journey ends.